I'm Julie Parrish, and I'm running for state representative in House District 37. I think that one of the things I've heard as I've talked to people knocking on doors, and just kind of my own perspective of this is, as we've watched, my husband and I have watched elections over the years, one of the things we've always personally felt is, where is the candidate who looks like us? Where is the candidate who's going through the things that we're going through? And I think right now, for a lot of the people in my district, we're small business owners. West Lynn particularly has a high percentage of business owners and home-based business owners. We're parents. We've got kids in elementary school, and so when we're working, we're raising our families, we're taking our kids to, sports, and we're trying to just kind of get by. And I think for a lot of people in my district, that resonates with them, because my family is doing the same thing that other families are doing. We're trying to, grow our kids and build our lives. And a lot of people who, but at least what we have always felt is that sometimes people who run don't really have a connection to what's actually happening where we live. And so for us, this is why getting into this race was important. And I think that resonates really well with people. I think as a parent and as a business owner, I'm going to be able to understand what they're going through. But then, just personally, from where I've come, with being poor growing up and being in a, kind of coming up through the system, I think I have a lot of empathy for where people are coming from and how they're trying to make their lives better. And so that's a big piece of why I think I'd love to have people support. Julie Parrish mom is passionate about education, but I think right now the biggest piece on everybody's mind is jobs. And as a business owner, I know that getting people back to work is the first piece of fixing Oregon. So I'm going to actively pursue things that will help small businesses access credit, that will help incentivize the job creators to hire Oregonians and put them back to work, and look at what we can do in our rural communities to put Oregonians outside of the metro area back to work. I mean, they've just really been hit hard in this recession, and actually been hit hard for years. And if we can go into outside of the metro area and get people back to work, I think that starts to relieve some of the pressure on the system for what we're putting money into for other problems. And so jobs and creating jobs and getting Oregonians back to work is, I think, the first piece that we should all be talking about. I think reducing spending is something we're going to have to go down and talk about in this next session. I think we're going to have a values conversation about what is it we really want to use with our government dollars in Oregon. I think for most of us, it's going to be education. We want to protect, some of the health and human services we offer. We want to make sure that our, police and fire and some of those things are still available in the budget, but we know that there's no more dollars coming. We don't have Oregon can't raise any more capital. There was an Oregonian article just yesterday that said that we're out of credit, so we can't borrow our way out of this. We're going to have to put the private sector back to work to increase some of those tax rolls, but we're also going to have to go down and have a serious conversation about what it is that Oregon values. And I think that as a group, when there's 90 of us in a room together, we can start that conversation and say, this is what we need to prioritize our spending, and that means that we're going to have to reduce the size of government to get that done. There's $3 billion shortfall is what's projected, and that money isn't available to us. We're going to have to make some hard decisions, and we're going to have to, as a group, decide what those decisions are. What does Oregon value? Well, the interesting thing with the grocery bag conversation, one of the things that I do, what I do for a living is I help people save money at the grocery store. So this is something that has been on my radar for quite a long time, because we're hearing this conversation in other states. But one of the things that I know to be happening in Oregon is that you've got people in the industry working with environmental groups, and outside of government telling them what to do, right now they're working together to try to come up with a solution that's going to be good for consumers and good for the environment at the same time. So me personally, I feel that we need to give them the room to come to a solution that they can come to terms and agree on, because I think private solutions that have come from the private sector are always better than anything that a government can legislate. When you look at what happens when you have a municipality in different parts of the state and everyone wants to affect, their own piece of legislation, suddenly the cost for consumers rises, and you wind up with 20 different solutions instead of one uniform solution. So, I'd like to see us continue to allow the folks in the grocery industry and the folks on the environmental side of the table continue to work together on a solution that they come up with that's good for consumers and for good for the environment. I do have 3 kids, and they're all in elementary school, and just even the differences between all my own children and their needs are so great that sometimes I think it's I worry about putting them all into the same basket, if you will, in terms of their needs, and thinking that education is a one-size-fits-all solution. I've got one child who has some learning challenges, and I have another who is on the tag side of the equation, and one who just wants to do music and be left alone. And so I look at our education in Oregon, and I feel like if we continue to invest, but we're not getting the return on our investment, we need to rethink education. And so that could, as an outcome, be more choice for kids and parents. We certainly need to make sure that teachers get the tools they need to do their job. I'm personally friends with a lot of the teachers in my kids' schools, and and I watch what they're doing on the front line, and if we're not getting enough dollars into the classroom for them, it makes it harder for them to do their job. And certainly as we watching class sizes rise, it becomes more challenging. So, and then the other piece of this is where can we streamline things? Administrative services that are provided in the school, can we consolidate some of those things so that we can reduce some of the costs and get more of those dollars back to the classroom? So, this next session, I guess the piece that I'm most concerned about is that we need to elect people who have a wide array of background and balance. Oregon's legislature is a citizens legislature, and as such, we're made up of lots of different people as a state. And I think the best way we make and affect good change is that we hire or elect people who are of lots of different backgrounds and experience. I think right now I'm probably the only mom with 3 kids running for the legislature in this state. I haven't confirmed that, but but I have a business background, and that combined, I think, gives me a different perspective and vantage point. And I think, as people are going through their ballot for all positions, we need to make sure that we are electing balance and restoring balance down to Salem and a balanced voice.